Okay, I think I had a Eureka breakthrough moment here. I was really thinking about it. That little star spline that's down inside on the back side of one of these clusters here. And that little spline that fits in between these actually does fit inside here. It fits really tight. So I tried putting it in here from the back side and trying to push it through, but maybe it's supposed to go the other way. Maybe it's supposed to be like this. It just seemed like it would never go in. And I'm using the chamfered side because one of these sides on this spline gear right here is chamfered back a little bit. So it's swept back a little bit, like it's made for easier entry for meshing. And boy, it seems like it enters in from the back side easier from here. Again, using the chamfered side to enter in. It seems like it seats in there like that. But it seems like it would have to go all the way through to be useful. Like it seats like that and then it stops. It doesn't want to go any further. Then I'm going to hammer on it with a piece of plastic or a piece of wood. Let's see what's happening if I use this old snap-on screwdriver. Oh, it's driving through. Yeah, this is a Eureka breakthrough moment. This was the key. This thing did go in here. Holy macaroni. Oh, man. This is the one little thing that I wanted info on, was just this little freaking spline gear. This is the thing that was holding me up to no end. I don't want to use anything metal, so I'm using plastic here. Huh. It's a funny arrangement how that spline gear, that means this spline gear is totally dependent on the thrust pressure of this male spline coming up right here to keep this in position, because if this were to back down while these were spinning, they could try to mesh. That seems like that would cause some problems. I just don't know if this thing is supposed to be driven up in here to where it separates from these gears and it's just held in the thickness of this plate, or if it's supposed to partially engage with these gears. These gears won't move because it's still partially engaged, and I need to drive it through to where it separates. Okay, well, I did have a Eureka moment here, and was as I suspected. This little spline gear does fit in the bottom, or the outermost outboard tricluster gear that goes in the bottom of this well here for reassembly. And well, this thing does go in here, this little spline gear. I made sure I had the chamfered edge, and I fed it in through the back here and drove it in with a piece of plastic with the screwdriver handle. I tapped it in and then it stopped, and I did do a little bit of gentle tapping at the final part with an extension. I had a brass punch, but it wouldn't fit in there. It was too fat. My brass punch here is too fat to fit in there. So I just gently tapped this down on it. And I kept tapping it till I got it. I tapped it just until these got free, and then the metal plate, like as you can see the thickness of this metal plate right here, I tapped it until the back side of it was flush with that. And I checked with a clean screwdriver. I checked to see the mating surfaces and see if this spline gear was, the back of the spline gear was equal and flush with this plate. And it is, it's right there. It's right there. Now when I drop this down in there, this spline gear is going to be is fed in here. That's about 1/8 of an inch. That's about how much gap I was losing on getting it to close in, to mate, to get the cover on, was about that, the thickness of this plate, about 1/8 of an inch thick. Sorry for the lighting. I got the sun going, I got shade from the trees, and I've got everything positioned in a clean workspace, and I'm not moving my stuff for the lighting. I'll try to move some of it into the lighting. So, ooh, that seat's in there nice. Now these things are not only in the well and not sticking up a little bit, they're actually down in. They're countersunk slightly in the well of this housing right here. They're down in there, man. Put this into the disengaged position and slide this thing on. Boom. All the way in. All the way in, seated, with no force. Now that's how it's supposed to fit. It was all because of that tiny spline gear. I knew that was the crux of the whole thing. The whole time I was going, there's something about this tiny tubular spline gear, the one that was 1.5 inches long and about 3/4 of an inch in diameter, that mated those two triclusters together, the two little triple clusters together. I knew that spline gear was the key to the whole thing. I just knew that was the problem. That was like just driving me crazy, man. Now, since everything went in so good, I'm going to go ahead and seal this thing back up with some silicone sealant. I'll probably use RTV number 2. Blue, I mean. What am I talking about, number 2? I got some blue around here somewhere, I think. I also got some black silicone that's just standard for windshield gaskets. That would probably work good too. Now, part of the reason I had a hard time is because backing this thing out, it's very stiff, and when I pulled on it, I probably yanked it too far. I don't see how those guys get it so perfect where they don't even get hardly any juice all over the place. No forcing, screws in really easy.